Hello, y'all. I'm Jaha Zainabu, and welcome to Storytime with Jaha Zainabu 18. 18. Um, so, let's see. What random story will I begin with? Today's random story is not so much a random story as much as it is an update, a job update. So as I have told you before, I'm looking for a job right now to get me through a little while, a few months. I mean, I'll probably have the job longer than a few months, but I need the job now. And I have been applying for cleaning, cleaning agencies because, like I've said before, it's something that I can easily do, and something that I do alone or with one other person, but that other person, without a boss, basically standing over my shoulder. Something I can throw my headphones on and rock. So I applied for a few cleaning agencies, and it's different in the South. It's a different thing out here. I've never done it in the South before. So I went on one interview and with a cleaning company, and I was supposed to hear from them on Friday, and it is Saturday, and I haven't heard from them. So my guess is that one's a no-go. So I applied for other agencies, and one is an agency that is a very big and well-known company. I will not say the name, but a big and well-known company. And so I registered, and every you go on an app and you what they call claim a job. So I've claimed several jobs, and every job that I have claimed, the client has canceled within within 5 minutes. The client cancels. The only thing they know about me is my picture. The only thing they know about me is right here. So something about right here. And it's not something about right here. I'm gonna be real with what I think. If my name was Maria, let's be real. If my name was Maria and I was a Hispanic woman, then I would not have been canceled. That's how I feel. If I was a white girl, that I would not have been canceled. I feel like I was canceled because I am a black woman. Because what other reason do you have for canceling me? But it's cool because I would rather know that that's how you feel before I get to your door, before you accuse me of stealing the silverware. So that's what it is. That's what I'm going through. So I just claimed a job about 10 minutes ago, and so far I haven't been canceled. This person has by the name, she's a black woman by the name, but who knows? So we'll see. But the job is for Monday, so if I tell y'all I'm working Monday, it happened. Okay, so we'll see. But I also have an interview on Wednesday with another cleaning company, which is also a very large company. So we'll see. If I can work for a few of them, that would just, as long as I'm working every day. If I do one or two houses a day, I will be cool. That will keep me good. Not every day, like 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I really don't want to work on weekends, but I will do as far as Saturday. I do enjoy going to church on Sundays, and I would like to keep my Sundays free for church and for rest, and I need a day. So that's the job update. As far as what I'm talking about today, I was thinking about that. And today, I am doing, today's today's story time will be called Dear Jaha. It will be a letter, a conversation with myself. Because sometimes a writing session looks like that. Sometimes a writing session looks like you writing out your life, writing out your story in ways that you acknowledge yourself, in ways that you look yourself in the face and love upon yourself, and or tell the truth to yourself. If you never publish it, you never publish it. That's fine too. But it is good every now and again to look at yourself and be real with yourself. So today I had a conversation with a very good friend of mine, a good and long time friend. And she is also a mother, also a poet, also has lived from her art, also is, working job to job and just to fund the album and fund the next book and cover the rent for the next month so she can write. We know each other's struggles, know each other's successes very, very well. And it was good to talk to her today. And I was telling her that I was really proud of myself for sticking with this commitment, right? Just being able to have a conversation, just give a lesson for an hour, mostly on writing. Even if the topic is not writing, the topic is always writing for me. It is always an example of what you can write about. I talked about writing about, I read some entries from my blog from when I was working as a home health aide. And so me reading about working as a home health aide is not directly about a writing conversation, but it is about using your life and incorporating that into your story, into a story. But anyway, this conversation that I was having with my friend, I said, I acknowledge myself for that. And I love her for, she said, I gotta give it to you, like everything that you do, whatever it is that you're doing, you are an artist inside of that. And I received that, especially from someone like her. I receive it because it is true. And I do acknowledge myself for being an artist. And for simple things that I never even talk about. I remember when I was living in the jungle at this time. The jungle is an area of Los Angeles in South Central. So I was living in the jungle and I was dating this guy. I know that way too many of my stories begin with I was dating this guy, but I'm always dating some guy. So I was dating this guy, and in my apartment there were two mirrors. One of the mirror was the mirror in the bathroom, which was already there. And then there was a mirror that hung in the hallway. And for a long time, I had an issue with staring at myself in a mirror. I would often rush past mirrors, triggered by what I saw sometimes, by the story of my face, by whatever. And so I was dating this guy, and he was standing in front of the mirror in the hallway. And he said, "Come here." And so I walked over to him, and he held me in front of the mirror. And he wanted me to stare at our reflection. Like he said something like, "Look how good we look." And I remember I kept trying to pull away from him. And he kept saying, "Why can't you just stand in front of the mirror with me?" And I really didn't have, I was going to say, I didn't have words for, I'm uncomfortable staring at myself. I didn't have words for that. Maybe I didn't have words for that, or I was not bold enough to say that to him because of what I thought it might say about me. I gotta unpack that. I don't know why, but I was just afraid to say that. And I remember making up some kind of excuse that he didn't believe, but I pulled away. And I just didn't want to talk about it. And I lived often rushing past mirrors. And then in 2020, May 30th, 2020, my son and I moved to this apartment on Crenshaw. And I don't know what changed. I was still the same me. I had the same face. So I had the same face. Not only did I have the same face, I was actually probably 20 pounds heavier. So I don't know what shifted, but something about that time, I loved looking at me. I loved stepping in front of the mirror. I would stand naked in front of the mirror. I would stare into the mirror, stare at my reflection longer than was necessary, longer than it took to actually brush my teeth, actually cut my hair. And I began collecting mirrors. And we had a very small apartment. It was a one bedroom. It was a one bedroom with a loft. And Urias had the bedroom. And I made a makeshift bedroom out of the loft area. And so I had 11 mirrors. 11 mirrors in that apartment, which is a lot of mirrors for one apartment. Come on. But I had 11 mirrors. And I began to make a practice of looking at me and loving my reflection. I didn't, let's see, how do I say? I did not go through life as pretty girl. That wasn't my experience. I wasn't the girl all the boys wanted. I wasn't the fly girl. I wasn't, and I'm not downing myself. I'm just stating what I felt my experience was. I was a bit quirky. I was very much myself. I was not a woman or a girl who followed the trends. And dear Jaha, I love you for that. Dear Jaha, I look at you right now and love you for having your own style. I love you for speaking with your own voice. I love you for reciting your poetry, for telling your story like you. I love you for that. Years ago, I would not have been able to turn on a camera and stare into a camera with my face talking back at me. I wouldn't have been able to do it. And I acknowledge you for being able to do that today. Today, Saturday, June 21st, 2025. I acknowledge you for being able to do that. I honor myself for showing up for this project. I honor myself for creating this project. And speaking of this project, I was having a conversation with another friend of mine who is also a poet, also a mother, also incredible. So we were talking last night, and she knows my history of she knows my history of mental health. I don't like mental illness. For me right now, I'm not like bashing the title, but for me, I just don't want to make that declaration for myself right now that I am mentally ill. I don't want to make ill of myself. But she knows my history with depression. She knows my history with mania. She knows my history of not being 100% dedicated to staying on this planet. Yeah, she knows my history with that. And in the conversation, we were talking about projects and writing projects, and so she said, and so I said, I create projects, and I was telling her, I said, I create projects to keep me alive. And as I was going into the next topic, she said, wait, like, let's back up. Like, say more about that. What do you mean about that? What do you mean keep you alive? And I think that when I said it to her, I said it as a throwaway, like, I need a project to keep me alive. And I don't know that I thought about it in great depth. It was something that came out of my mouth. It's something that I have said before. And so she invited me to unpack that. And in that unpacking, what came up was I have always needed a project to keep me alive. I think my hardest year regarding depression was in between 2011 and 2013, 14 were my hardest years. Were my hardest years. And there's something that happens with people. You know what? I don't want to speak for all people who experience depression or live with depression. But for me, there was something during the episodes that would come quite often. The voices that happen for me were very sexy and seductive, were very convincing, and I began to believe them. And I did not have it that I was leaving anyone. To me, I felt like everyone would be better off without me. Everyone, the world, my son, my mother, my sister, my friends, whatever lover, would be better off. And that's how the voices roll in. That's how the clouds sink into your skin. Real slick like that. Real, if you weren't here, Urias would just, and then he could, and on this side of it, I know that it doesn't make sense. I know that the voices are not real or truthful or even my friend. I know this. Dear Jaha, I am so proud of you for knowing this today. I am proud of you for being here, for staying on this planet, for using whatever kind of tool or trick you needed to use to stay. I am proud of you for staying and fighting. Um, and I have mentioned before, I've lived with depression for a very long time. Way longer than, way before I was diagnosed. I remember when I had bouts of depression when my son was a child, was a baby. And then I went through a horrible postpartum depression, which rocked me. To me, postpartum depression was something that white women got. Black women didn't experience that. Pardon my ignorance. Because it rocked me hard. I totally went through it. And I remember creating, I don't want to call it a game, but for lack of a better word, let's call it that. So I created this game of, I was incredibly sad. I was incredibly, like, not really committed to staying here. But I said, I have a baby, and I'm gonna see my baby start school. I'm gonna see my baby start school. And for me, I need short-term plans, because anything long-term would feel too long. Like I can't do that. I can't stick to that. I can't honor that. So I said, I'm gonna see my baby start school. That's what's up. So the voices, I will fight the voices. However, I gotta fight the voices, but I will win this one. I will win this one. I will see Uriah start kindergarten. That will happen. In 2002, Uriah started kindergarten, and I was alive to see it. I was alive to see it. And dear Jaha, I am proud of you. I am proud of you. In the face of not knowing about the mental flips and tricks you were going through, in spite of the voices, in spite of the heavy and crippling depression, you stayed. And I am proud of you for that. And so I needed a new project. I needed a new goal. And so I said, I am going to see Urias finish elementary school. That's it. That's what's up. Urias will finish elementary school, and I will be there to see that happen. And I was. I was there to see Urias finish elementary school. And I am proud of myself for that. And I needed a new one. And Urias' schooling is always a good timeline for me. And so now my son is getting bigger. And so my son is getting bigger. The depressive episodes are still coming frequently. At this point, I was still undiagnosed. I was still what I used to call sad for no reason. That's what I used to call depression when I was a kid. I think I started feeling like this in 6th grade. And I would call it sad for no reason. So I was having sad for no reason spells. But I was determined to see my son, who was growing into this young man. And and tall and with hair and I was determined to see him graduate from middle school, and I did. I went to his graduation ceremony and was incredibly pleased. And I remember just like being so weepy because that he was graduating, and that's a big deal, and that I made it. I made it. On the way to the graduation, my son called me, and he said, "Mom, he said, my teacher said that if any moms yell or are loud in the auditorium, then they're gonna get put out." I was like, "Okay, you raised. I won't be that mom. I won't be that mom." But I made it. And then the next project was obvious that I would see him graduate from high school. And I did. I saw him graduate from high school. And then it scared me a bit. Like, what now? What is the next, I saw him graduate. I saw him be this man. After graduation, for a period when he was younger, he lived with his dad and stepmom. And after graduation, his high school graduation, he came back and he lived with me. And we would sit up and have these conversations. I was very much in his life while he was living with his dad, but now it's more, it was back to us being under the same roof and doing a day to day and just watching him maneuver and watching him make friends and watching him find his way in Los Angeles and going back and forth to the karate studio and to here and to there. And I just got to be more and more in awe of who he was, the human being he was. And so so at this time I am diagnosed. It's 2015. I am diagnosed bipolar 1. This time I am on meds, and it's a different me. The voices are there, but not the meds calm the voices. I think that's the design. The meds calm the voices greatly. So I'm not fighting through the voices, but I'm new on meds, and I am numb in a lot of ways. I think that's why people go off the meds. While it is more painful not being on meds, I like me better off meds. I feel more myself. But at this time I am on meds. So the voices are calm. And while I thought this was going to be a letter to myself, it's kind of like the story of myself, I guess. And that's okay too. So you sit down to write whatever comes out. And today, this is what's coming out. Today, this is my writing session in front of you. Today, this is my pouring. So anyway, so I need a deadline. Like I need that. I live, because that's the game I play. That is my negotiation with God. I will stay, and this is what I want to see. So I'm staying, and there isn't an end, really. There isn't one. Yeah. So, and that was not an easy time for me, with the meds included. Um, I don't know. I don't remember what I didn't necessarily have a writing project, but I was working I was teaching poetry at the time. And I was committed to uh, ending each school term. Like each term I took, I was committed to ending that term. So for me, that was project enough. Like, I'm going to stay and I'm going to finish this class, or I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to finish this class period, in which was about a year. Not a year, but maybe whatever. What is the school term? Whatever school time from the beginning, September to June. So I'm gonna stay until June, until the end, and then in the summer I would create. I taught summer school also, or a summer class, a summer program, and so at each point I am committed to staying until the end. So that is the thing about the projects. And so when I was talking to my friend last night, and we were talking about this one, and a few weeks ago I went through a really hard episode. A really hard one. And the first hard one since I've been here in Atlanta. And I think me being here with, I have friends here, but I don't have a very large support group here. But I have, I have some people. So being here essentially alone, it scared me. And so, because at least in LA, if it got too bad, I could go into the hospital. I could check myself into the hospital. And I know that I could check myself into the hospital here too. But it's not LA. I don't know them people. I don't know. I don't know. So the truth is, I kind of took hospital off the table. That's not the best thing to say, but I mean, I think that if I had to, I would do it. But it would really have to come to that. So so in February, I created the ebook series. The ebook series came also at a time where I had a great lull and, drop in my art sales. And I needed a low ticket item. And I didn't want to sell $20 paintings. And I needed like a $20 digital product. And I was like, I could create an ebook. And then I could do it next month too. And so the ebooks are from February to February 2026. And I release a new one each month. And so that, and I'm not going to not stay until February, because I gotta finish my project. And so then I created this. I give class. I do writing workshops all the time for free. I do one-on-ones often. I have begun to charge for them because a sister needs her Skrilla, and a sister is giving really, really good advice, and a sister is whipping mad books into shape. And so I have begun to charge for them, but I've been teaching for a long time. This teaching poetry and teaching writing for a long time, and this is something I know. Especially writing for people who want to begin a new project, such as a book, or writing, teaching writing to writing workshops to people who get stuck from time to time and don't go back to projects. I am good at that. That is my fucking jam. I am an incredible resource for that. I have mad receipts on completing projects. Um, I I am a great coach on going deeper in your writing. I am great at helping writers um, again go deeper. And so it well, and so I created this on YouTube. I know how to do it. I like talking about writing. I like coaching other writers. Um, I like telling stories. Now, more than ever, it is super important that we tell stories, that we tell our stories. We as Black people, we as women, we as artists of all colors, it is important that we tell our stories. Um, that we tell our stories from, like, circle the word we, because other people are telling our stories in a way that they want our stories to be told, but it's not necessarily us. It's not necessarily how we would have done a thing. Um, you know, it's how someone else would have told our story. I am I am on my blog right now. I used to write letters to myself. Why are you talking all the time? And I'm just looking for some of my Dear Jaha stories. Um, uh-oh. Nope. Jaha. Because it's important, I think, that we tell our stories. I think that it's important sometimes that we talk to ourselves. It's important sometimes that we show ourselves love. Yeah, that we show ourselves love. I'm on my blog. It's an old blog. It's on Blogspot. It is jahazworld.blogspot. Okay. .com. Here's one. This is a poem called Dear Jaha. There are so many poems called Dear Jaha. It's crazy. So this is a poem called Dear Jaha. And it was written Monday, February 4th, 2013. I don't know where we're going with this one, so just roll with me. Dear Jaha, there is good in the world. Okay, now I know where we're going with this one. There is good in the world. There are children home and safe with people who love them. They are appropriately touched and cared for. There are women who walk the streets at ease, Jaha. Women who have never been raped. Women without pasts that chase them with shark teeth in their dreams. Women who are in relationships that nurture their growth and desires. There are police who protect Black boys. There are, Jaha. There are days I believe that. And then there are other days. Everyone is not losing their homes. There are families with enough to eat and covers to sleep. There are Black men who are thankful for their lives and the paths that led them to now. Men who lead and teach other men and boys. This is the world too. The press will handle the bad news today. They are reliable for that every day. Love is revolutionary. Stories about safe boys and girls, live babies, happy women, healthy men. This is the world too. There are days you wake to clear skies in your head. Clear skies in your head. When getting out of bed is easy, there are mornings when you know that you are the best fruit you have ever tasted. There are plenty of days you laugh so easy seems like sin. There is more to your skin than red. Some days are sky blue and pink. You are yellow and you are green. You are so green, Jaha. There are days you are blood and mud. And there are days you are blood and mud. But then how would you ever know orange without the blood? Blood is a part of it, Jaha. It just is. Your blood is river. But when the flowing is calm, you see colors. So God, these days deserve your words too. These days, these pink and yellow, these orange, these greens, these lilies, these clovers. This is the world too, Jaha. And I wrote that poem in 2013 because, as I've said a cajillion times, 2013 was my writing project where I wrote a poem every day. And a lot of my poems were inspired from the news, which was not good. Was Trayvon Martin, was Marissa Alexander, was Renisha McBride. Google these names. And there was black boy after black boy after black girl after black girl found dead, missing, gone, murder. It was a lot. And I needed that note to myself to say, you know what? There is good in the world too. And it's funny that I would read that note today because before I sat down to turn the camera on, I turned on the phone and saw that the U.S. bombed Iran today. The fuck? And that is enough to send me into a spiral. And so I need to look at my face and say there is good in the world too. This will not drown you. This will not send you into a spiral you cannot come out of. There is good in the world too. This poem is called A Note to Self, written Friday, January 4th, 2013. Dear Jaha, you will not get it all done. You won't. There will be days the thought of laundry in the corner of the room will hammer your skull like devil, like death. You will want to die. The anxiety will boil the iron and needles in your veins. You will want to race nose first into the fastest, largest truck, but you will not. You will survive those days. You will breathe and you will know that the boiling has nothing to do with the laundry undone in the corner of the room. You will see yourself in the moments after, the hours beyond the episodes that will not be bigger than you. It's not the laundry. It's never the laundry or the dishes or the guy in the movies eating popcorn too loudly. You already know. But in the moments, those moments when the heavy is the weight of sun, when the earth quakes and finds you to dump its brickiest brick, then you will forget. You will forget that you are bigger than all of this, even this. You will smile at your reflection in the mirror. You will keep smiling until you almost mean it. Almost will be good enough. You will always get past it. A prayer will appear, or a puppy, a song, a ribbon, a rainbow. God will show her face, and remind you to remember that you cannot control the weather. You just cannot. But the rain will announce himself. He always does if you listen. Listen, Jaha, listen. You will not get it all done. You won't. And you will survive it all. I have been writing letters to myself for a very long time, as you can see. I have been talking good things to myself. I have been keeping myself alive. And by keeping myself alive, I mean I have been doing what I could do to stay alive. I have been using my words for my good, for myself, for a long time. And that's how I know this works. And I don't ask you to do anything that I've never done. So I'm asking you to do it. Tell yourself you love yourself. Look yourself in the face and say you are beautiful. And thank you for being here. Let's see. And so sometimes, this is an example, so sometimes a poem is just words that you spill. And this is just an example of that. This is Dear Jaha, written June 5th, 2013. Think easy. Think early morning, Jaha. Think pathways, sunflowers. Think beach. Think oversized sweater, white cotton pants. Think flip-flops and yellow toenails. Think 2 big sunglasses, bronze lip gloss, pink blush. Isn't the world a better place with pink blush on? Think long drives and old school hip hop, blues. Think jasmine, sun. Think your sun and the sun. Think rain. Think scarves, eyeshadow, bracelets, poetry, photography, red. Think slow breaths, eyes closed. Think tea, cold, late night, coffee shop, sleep. Keep thinking, sleep. We make a poem, a story harder than it has to be. Let the words spill. Let the words encourage you. Let your words from your heart, your lips and lungs, let them spill and encourage and lift you. Dear Jaha, October 1st, 2011. 2011. Dear Jaha, be easy with yourself. Love yourself. Express yourself. So what about whoever... What? So what about... Oh, so what about they? I don't know why I said that. So what about they, whoever they are, and whatever they think? They can't be you better than you. And they certainly can't walk a day in your life. I don't know who I was on one about, but I was on one that day. Keep writing. The money always comes. Keep painting. Take a nap when you need a nap. Laugh. So what if it's not funny? Cry. So what if it's not sad? Let the water out anyway. Keep talking to yourself. I be going places. I ain't even going to read the rest of that. I was on one. I was mad at somebody. I wish I was more specific in that blog because whoever it was could have got it that day. I hope they did. I hope they did get it. Because sometimes giving it to the people be what you need to do. You know? But my notes to myself have saved me. I've said things to myself that, I've said things to myself that I needed to hear. And if I wasn't going to hear them from somebody else, I was going to say them to myself. March 27, 2020. Dear Jaha, it is okay to be okay. It is fine to take a walk, a nap, to be still, to buy food and fruit. It is okay to give thanks even now. Even today, it is okay to not know. It is okay to not worry, Jaha, to not be afraid, to breathe, to just be. Um, I just put in on my Blogspot blog. I just put in Dear Jaha, and like more poems than I even remember showed up, and I'm just perusing those. And okay, February 1st, 2013, Dear Jaha, empty yourself of stories. Leave all of them here. All of them here to be split among the squirrels and the lovers, the learners and teachers, the deer and the peacekeepers, to soak into the earth and grow to nourish another. Write words that will serve the world, even if the tales show you ugly, and some will. Even if you are the villain, the liar, the thief, even if they will set someone, if they will set someone free, then speak. What good is your pose of only glee? What was the fog for, if not to share the lesson, to learn, to give lesson and grow? Okay, John. Yeah. Um, yeah, this blog is filled with notes to myself. And I need that. I needed that today. I've been talking to myself all day. Just not just good and encouraging things, but spaces and places where, I would have done this different, or but I'm not in a space where I beat myself up for anything. Not anything. Not anything. Um Not anything. I learned the lessons that I needed to learn. In the ways that I needed to learn them. Dear Jaha, December 23rd, 2013, look at how far you've come. Look how long the road, Jaha, how rock, how bliss, mess, how treasure the road. Wouldn't take nothing for it all. Way yesterday and tomorrow sit down for supper, talk about blues and stories today know nothing about. Look at how breath come easier now than before. Look at forgiveness at my door. Look at love. Look at God. Look at my own hands and feet so still. Yeah. Breathe, baby. Breathe. Breathe, baby. Breathe. So I love you, Jaha. I love you, me. I love youth. I think the thing that I love and am in awe of myself about today, since I'm popping my collar today, since this is my writing session about me to me, I'm bigging myself up for the ways in which I have consistently shown up for love. I'm a fucking weeble. I am a woman of a certain age. I am old enough to have a day. And I remember there were toys, these little toys called Weebles. And the commercials would say, in the commercial, the tag was, Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. And that was me in love. I wobble, but fuck you if you think I'm gonna stay there. And with and I maneuvered through love and many loves. and levels of loving myself, with no example. I didn't see love. I didn't grow up seeing a romantic love. I did not know what it looked like for a man and woman to love each other. I didn't grow up knowing what that looked like. And then and I wasn't taught to know what that looked like. I kind of Forrest Gumped my way through every relationship I ever had. And they all taught me more about myself. Many of them taught me what I didn't want in love. Many of them taught me what love wasn't. I remember this guy I dated. I had a conversation with him because it seemed like everything I would say, he would have to take the opposite position. And I didn't believe that that's how he felt. I felt like wherever I was, he would be on the other side. And so I asked him. So I said, why is it that it just seems like every time like I'm hard in a position, then you like purposely take the other side? Like, why can't we be on the same team on something? And he said, well, that's relationships. And I was like, I don't know a lot about relationships, but that is not a relationship I'm going to stay in. And it wasn't a relationship I stayed in. The truth is, I don't have the best track record of staying in relationships, but I have the best track record of honoring myself. And maybe I didn't love myself enough. Maybe the level to which I loved myself was reflected in the partners I chose. The partners I chose to be with. But they say when you know better, you do better. And when I knew better, I did better. Yeah, I did. And I honor myself for that. I never had that love where I never had a love that felt like home. Ever. I have friends, though, that feel like home. I have brothers and sisters that I have brothers and sisters where I feel at home. But as far as love, I never had that. And I don't beat myself up for it. It just wasn't something that I had. And today I am possibly open to that, but I have a love for myself that is not hungry for something outside of me anymore. If someone shows up inside of that, they just would really have to be a really giant person. They really would. They would. The me who accepted things that I accepted in the past is not that me now. Yeah, it's not me now. And I love you for that, Jaha. I love you for the ways you love yourself. I love you for the stories you tell yourself. in spite of the voices, in spite of the depression, in the face of the clouds, in the face of the sometimes sinking. I love you for showing up. I love you for being the weeble that will wobble but will never fall down. I love you for being the weeble that will fall down but will not stay down. I love you for the get up that you have. I love you for the love that you have for your son, for your family. I love you for the priceless friend you are. I love you for the human you are, for the spirit large you possess. I love you for being, for gifting, for loving the world enough to give the world you. I love you for that. I love you that none of it has been big enough to knock you over. Not any of it. And it has tried. And you're here. And I love you for that. So, and I love you too. All of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Take on writing a letter to yourself and see where that goes. Maybe you will stay on track. Maybe your mind will veer. Maybe you will end up in your kindergarten class mad at your kindergarten teacher for not calling on you. Who knows? Who knows? But find your way back to loving yourself. Find your way back to love. But here again, thank you. Thank you so much. Be well, loves. Be well.